to the STB, as in boy, aka Secure the Bag podcast. I'm your host, Ruby. You can call me Rachel, Ruby, whatever you want. But this podcast is strictly about stripper shit, nightlife industry, sex industry, whatever you want to, sex work, right? Is that what they say? See, I used to be like, and a lot of girls would be like, we're in the sex work industry. And I'm like, are we in the sex work? I want to say that we're in the entertainment industry. We're in the nightlife industry. We're in like the stripper industry, I think that's an industry in itself. But no, when girls would say the sex work industry, I don't know how I felt about that. Either way, we talk about stripping and nightlife and all that good stuff. But basically, if you guys are new here, I danced for about 4 years. I kept it a secret from everyone that I loved and knew. Only 2 people in the world knew, one of my really good friends and my ex-boyfriend, and they kept it a secret. I recently threw a retirement party back in September, came out and let everybody know that I was dancing for the last 4 years on my Hannah Montana shit. And it was a blast. Like, I'm super grateful. One of the best decisions I've ever made. I learned a lot. And it has been a roller coaster. And I was just skimming through what we're going to talk about today because I had no one to talk to and nobody knew that I was stripping. I kept a lot of things inside. But of course, the nightlife industry and the stripping, it didn't end. So there was something new every night. There was always a really crazy situation and things going on. I had no one to really talk to. So what I would do is I would go onto my Google Docs every night after work and I would reflect and I would talk about how my night went, what happened. Sometimes I would talk about how much I made. Usually that started taking place in, like, I want to say 2021. And we're at the beginning here. We're at 2019, guys. So I talk about mostly like tips and tricks and things that tips and trick. Get it? Tips and tricks. That's good. Things like that. And just a lot of reflection. And I was waiting. It's funny because the last podcast, Izzy was asking about, or I don't know if it was you, but we were definitely talking about, like, okay, what about all those crazy situations, right? Like all those really wild times that I haven't talked about yet. I'm like, oh no, we're going to get to it because there's never a time where I've held back in a blog or, a reflection because I want to remember this shit. And it happened, and it was like a big time in my life. And I think one of the things was, have you ever gotten like a physical altercation at work? And I have. And it was one time, like actual like fist-to-face time, but there was other altercations, which we're also going to get into because, like I said, I talk about everything. This one was like a physical one, which is even crazier is that I've probably, if you guys have heard the podcast, I've gotten fired from every club I've ever worked at. And no, it's not for sucking dick. No, it's not for soliciting. No, it's not for any of that. It was for mostly my attitude. And for me, I like to think that I'm a pretty personable person. I'm approachable, very like understanding for the most part. But when somebody does some fuck shit, it's gonna be talked about. You're gonna know that you did some fuck shit. You're gonna need to correct it. I wouldn't say I'm very strong on my opinions, but I'm very strong-willed when it comes to somebody doing me wrong, somebody doing something that I don't like. They're gonna know about it, and usually that gets me in a lot of trouble. So I'm extremely surprised that not only was I not fired for this offense, I was able to come back the next day. He almost let me work the same night. He almost let me stay at work because of this. Not because of this, but after this happened. And again, like, this was my first year dancing. And I think this club at the time was a little bit more relaxed. Not anymore, though. They're extremely strict. Ended up going back there after getting fired, like 2022. And the rules are not the same. The game has changed. They don't fucking play around. And if I was to do this in 2022, yeah, I would be banned forever. Probably, I think. Anyways, at least would have been suspended for a long period of time. So, and the thing is, I got a physical fight with this girl. And I could probably go into like upset Ruby, like talk about my exact mindset when it was happening. And I'm sure I will in this reflection. But in this specific reflection of the altercation, I was in a state of guilt. Like, I had felt bad that I even allowed myself to get to this point because I don't think, like, I've been in my fair share of like physical altercations in high school and like maybe like right in college, like while going out and shit, like, you know, petty shit, stupid shit, random one-offs. But this was like, I had not been in a physical altercation probably in a couple of years because before I was stripping, I was in a sales company and I was all about like positive mindset, self-growth, doing better, success, like all these things. And you wouldn't ever find me arguing with people, trying to cause problems, like getting in arguments over dumb shit. But this right here, I felt like I had stooped so low. Like I had made a mistake. I fucked up by allowing someone to get the best of me and allow me to put my hands on them, basically. They had that much power over me. So I definitely know this rant is going to be kind of like me in my bag a little bit, but we'll talk about it. We'll get into it. So basically, this was on May 26th of 2019. This was the day that it had happened, and I said, I'm disappointed in myself. Tonight, I ended up getting involved in a physical altercation with another dancer over basically nothing. I want to say it was over a guy or money or the fact that she was talking shit, and it was something I didn't think I'd hear. But the reality was it was ego. Ego with a mixture of alcohol. There were so many people in the club, so much money to be made, but I truly didn't even get a cut due to my poor decisions. One thing led to another, and I lost it. She did too, but I guess the fact that I allowed myself to get that low is what really makes me upset. Why do I do this to myself? I don't know if I'll get fired. I don't know if I'll see her again. I don't know what the other people may think of me. All I know is I need to be better. That's not me at all. I'm positive, confident, and extremely independent. A club can turn you upside down if you let it. Because one interaction with the wrong person can fuck everything up. This is just a rant. I don't know if I'll ever post this. I don't even know if I'm thinking straight. And like I said, this was like the night that it happened, and it was eating me up so much the same night that I had to literally write this out. And I don't know how long this is. It probably is like a decent amount of, you know, writing, but I just remember like feeling like fucking shit. And now that I'm 4 years past it, basically, I'm like, what the fuck? Like, oh my God, this is literally almost 4 years ago. Yesterday was 4 years ago. It was 4 years ago. This happened 4 fucking years ago. Isn't that fucking crazy? 4 years ago. And now that I'm looking back at it, I'm like, Rachel, shut the fuck up. Stop being a little pussy, you know? Like, stop being a little baby. But, I mean, in the moment, like, it really bothered me. And now that obviously, like, it's been 4 years, I'm totally over it. I've moved on and I've learned from it. But, anyways. So what happened? I allowed my ego to get in the way of turning a bad night into an even better night. It all started when a guy I was with didn't want to pay me the full $200 I asked for. You guys see what I'm over here mad, egotistical about $200 fucking dollars. He said he would, but he was only able to give me $100 that his friend had on him. I spent about 3 hours with this guy talking and dancing and almost going to a private room for an hour. But his card kept getting declined and the mood was shifting. I was so upset about the fact that I wasted my time that I knew I didn't want to leave unless it was with at least $200. So basically, like, I remember this so clearly too. Like, we had been with them. It was me, my guy, the girl, her dude, and then one of my friends and her dude. And we all were like talking. It was a great time. Like, we went up to the room and everything, and everybody was on fucking cue. Everybody was on the same page. Other cards could have been swiped, but because this other girl was trying to fucking, I guess you could say, like, be selfish, kind of keep her man to herself, like, try to do her own thing with him when he definitely wanted to be with his friends. She was not on the same page. And when one bitch is not on the same page, she can fuck it up for everyone else. So when I didn't get what I wanted, I felt entitled, and I told the manager what had happened. So I had basically let the manager know, like, he owes me this much. Because I did do dances. Like, I did put in the work. I did definitely put in the fucking time, okay? Like, should have gotten paid way more for that. We should have gotten a room. But either way, like, he owed me for the dances, services rendered, right? And I let the manager know. I was like, no, you got me fucked up. Like, you're about to pay. And basically, although I should have been paid more, they said I technically only worked for like 3 songs, even though I spent hours with this guy. So things like that can be a hit or miss. I talk about this all the time on the podcast, like wasting your time with somebody, trying to get the money in advance, or at least somehow like having some type of like either gut feeling guarantee or assurance, right? Like reassurance from someone. But I just didn't want to feel like I wasted my time. So before you knew it, I was everyone was jumping in. So him, his friends, a couple other dancers, and of course the bouncers. I ended up walking away with just $100, and that was it. I was so upset that I went to the bathroom stall. Ew, I'm such a fucking crybaby. I went to the bathroom stall and just let my tears out. I was upset. I was fucking like, my emotions were high. It was just, wow. How old was I at this time? I was like 21. 21 over here fucking crying. And I can tell you guys, like, I've cried in bathroom stalls so many times in the strip club. Like, it's not even funny. Like, I'd be crying, okay? Like, I really be fucking getting upset. It was so pointless to be upset over these things. Like, I know it's pointless to be upset. I understand that, but in the moment, it feels like the worst thing ever. It feels like the only thing. So while I'm in the bathroom, I hear a dancer storming in about a situation and how girls are trying to hustle customers since it's slow and blah, blah, blah. I knew she was talking about me because I knew it was the bitch that wasn't on cue. I knew she was talking about me because it was the same girl who's also sitting at the booth and trying to get involved in the situation with the group of guys. I wiped off my tears and walked out of the stall. I just stared at her and showed her that I knew she was talking about me. Looked her up and down, gave her the whole fucking mean mug, the whole shit. And I said, I'm not afraid of confrontation. I actually prefer it. That way I can hopefully get it resolved in a cordial manner. Like, I definitely don't like to, like, keep things in. I do like to communicate. But in regards to, like, physical altercations, like, you'll never see me press somebody because at the end of the day, like, unless you actually come up to me and disrespect me to my face, you say something to me, which most people will never do. Like, in general, people don't go up to people. They don't, like, go and confront them because most shit is petty, right? Like, it really doesn't matter. But unless you, like, straight on, like, disrespect, like, you're not going to hear from me. Like, I really don't care. But this bitch knew. She knew, too. She was like, oh, fuck. So it just doesn't always happen the way we'd like it to, right? So, and tonight, it definitely didn't. She ended up calling me a bitch and put her hand around my neck. That's not how it happened. That's not how it happened. It didn't happen like that. I didn't even, okay, so I looked her up and down, right? And she had basically said, like, oh, like, I'm talking about this other girl, like, because she saw me looking at her. She's like, oh, I'm talking about this other girl, like, this has nothing to do with you, la, la, la. I'm like, bro, we both know it has to do with me or, like, whatever. I said some slick shit. And then I think she had tried to walk into, like, the bathroom stall, and she was saying some shit under her breath, and I pushed the stall open. I hit her in, like, the fucking forehead or something, and then that's when she came out, and she put her hand around my neck. And I said, that's where she really fucked up. Girls should know better than to put their hands on someone, don't think that they'll retaliate. They should also save their shit talking for people outside of the club. That's how culture gets ruined and animosity gets built up. To finish it up, we both got sent home. I don't know why I didn't talk more about the whole situation, but long story short, like, I pushed the door, she put her hand around my neck, we started fighting, got to the floor, people came in, pulled us apart, and then that was it, right? So I think she had gotten pulled out of the bathroom. I stayed in the bathroom with, like, a couple of other dancers that were there, and they had basically told the manager, like, the girl started it. You know, she was the one talking shit, but the lady in the bathroom, the house mom, she was not fucking with me. She's like, no, this girl started it. She was, like, trying to, she was trying to egg her on or whatever, and I don't think I was trying to egg her on. I think I was just trying to make it clear, like, you know what you did, you know what you're saying, own up to it. Don't fucking, like, try to lie and say you were talking about someone else. Who were you talking about? You were just with me for the last hour and a half at this fucking table. Like, come on, bro. Like, just be honest. And you should fucking know better than to talk so fucking loudly in a bathroom where stalls are closed. Anyone could be in the fucking stall. You're an idiot. Like, you're dumb. No feel. Anyways, so I ended up talking to one of the security guards for a while about the situation. And meanwhile, also some girls who saw the fight backed me up about how she came on to me first. So I go back tomorrow night and I'll see where I stand overall. All I know is that I'm going to walk in with a smile, my head held high, and a positive attitude, ready to get to work. Secure the bag and don't fuck up. And that's the situation. Like I said, I remember it. And although, like, it happened and I was really heated, that shit shouldn't happen. Like, it just shouldn't, right? It wasn't even over, like, a bag. Like, there was really no money. Like, there was no money. It was just ego. It was anger. It was attitude. It was the culture. Like, it was just, there's so many things that played a part, but it should have never got to that level. And obviously, I played a part in it, right? Like, I had allowed myself to get that upset about someone talking shit when at the end of the day, like, yeah, I pressed him for some money because that's what he owed, you know? But anyway, so because I was so upset, I wanted to do something better. And I wanted to go back the next day and hopefully not get fired because they were going to allow me to come back the next day. And I didn't know until, obviously, I went that I was going to be good and that I could work that same night. But for the 24 hours that I didn't know if I was going to be fired or not, I was really stressing because that was the only club that I had worked at in my new city. So it's like, I don't have any other backup clubs. I need to start going to audition. I'm thinking, like, what if the clubs aren't as good? This is the best money I've ever made. Like, I'm over here, like, at the mercy of the club. And that's another part where I fucked up, right? Not only did I put my hands on somebody and have a physical altercation, but I may lose my job. I may have to go and find another club. I was stressing. So I said, what I'm going to do different. So I said, on nights like this one, it really has a way of slapping you in the face and giving you a big ass wake up call. I have so much more growing to do, and I need to make sure I set some new rules for myself based on who I want to be and not just who I am in this moment. I'm always playing a character in the club anyways. I might as well play one that gets me ahead in and outside of the club. Thank you to whoever caused the situation. I don't even know what the fuck her name was, because I'm going to come back even better and stronger than before. I'm going to make more money because of it and create better relationships in the club with dancers, bouncers, customers, and anyone else involved. Here are my new rules and values below. Oh my God. What the fuck? I dead ass had values, my guy. Oh my God. I'm weak. I literally put down values. That is good. Okay. I like that. That's good. Aw. This is some good shit, right? Like, we all talk about we want to be better, we want to do better. And, you know, I'm going to read, like, I'm going to skim over these, right? But it's like, I'm going to read them and see if I actually, like, made improvements. And I want to say, like, obviously there's been an evolution, like, over the last 4 years when I was dancing. A lot had changed. I've been in a lot of situations, always trying to get better so I don't make the same mistake twice. But, wow. That's how you know, like, I really be reflecting. Yeah, that's good. Okay, so basically I said that I'll never overcharge a customer. So I'll tell the customer the honest amount that he owes me and just ask for a tip. And I used to, like, get upset if they didn't tip me. Still probably got upset every now and then. But for the most part, like, I won't sit there and argue with someone like I used to. I used to, like, sit there and fucking argue with these guys. I used to be like, nah, you need to tip me. You need to do this. You need to do that. But at the end of the day, like, it is what it is, right? I'm just wasting more time trying to get a tip, making a customer upset. Maybe we'll never come back, opposed to just, like, moving on and going to the next person who will tip me, no problem. And I said I'll get paid after every dance and not stack dances. That's a problem that I had at the beginning, where I used to, like, do a bunch of dances and then ask for a large amount after. And it's like it wasn't fully transparent. So that was a big thing to me. And I know that the strip club can be deceiving, right? Like, that's what the industry is all about. It's like, you can say deceiving, you could say finessing, you could say fantasy, whatever. Deceiving a customer by stacking dances and making them think that, like, they're getting what they paid for when they really haven't paid shit. It can just get you in trouble, because managers, as much as they'll try to have your back, they can't. You have to get your money up front. They're going to tell you every time. Like, if you try to go up to them and be like, oh, he owes me this much. Well, did you get your money up front? No. Okay, well then the fuck you want me to do, bro? I can't pull it out of his pocket. So I also said I'll show kindness, grace, and confidence in every person I come across. That's something that I absolutely think that I, like, fucking mastered in 2022. Like, the kindness, the grace of just walking away from situations, the confidence that I had. Like, this is 2019, right? So basically it took me 3 years of evolving. 2021 was, like, a real big step up. But 2022 was, like, my year. Like, it was definitely my time to shine type shit. And I basically said I'll no longer allow my ego to disappoint my night. I basically said I tend to let myself take things personally or even overreact about situations I can avoid. Whose fault is that? It's always mine. I take responsibility for everything in my life, even if I want to blame it on others. So, damn, I really did have a big-ass ego, though, in, like, 2019, 2020. Even a little bit of 2021, probably. Like, my ego was so big. Like, I never wanted to work with anyone. I wanted to do everything myself. I wanted to make all my own money, just go in, make money, go home. I felt like I was entitled to everything. I was owed everything. And obviously that's not the case, right? Like, there's so much and this can all be transferred into real life, right? Like, nobody owes you anything. Nothing is guaranteed. And ego can really fuck you up. And that was a big issue that I had that is definitely past me. But anytime I'm presented with conflict from another dancer, I will react in a calm and respectful manner. And I've had like a couple one-off situations after this, but nothing where it ever turned into a physical altercation, which is good, right? Like, we should be happy, you know? That's like one thing. You know, I had my conflicts here and there, and I definitely was petty about a few things. But for the most part, I would say that I know for sure I've improved a lot. And these values, as much as I should have looked at them every day and, like, you know, bowed down to them and really kept them in mind, they were in the back, right? They were like in the back of my head. Like, I wrote about it. You know, I knew what needed to be done, right? You know what you're supposed to do. It's just a matter of, like, constantly making it a habit. So I even put actions of what I would do the next day. I was like, actions I'll take tomorrow, if this, then that. So if this happens, then I'll do that. And if that happens, then I'll do this. So I said, I'm going to apologize to someone by the name of Michael for putting him in a situation. Who the fuck is Michael? Anyway, oh my God, this girl that I used to be best friends with, I didn't know she was there. Oh my God, this girl that I used to be best friends with in the club, she ended up like being there that night. And I had told her about the situation, but I basically said that I would thank her for having my back because she had my back with, like, management and just telling them, like, you know, she's a good dancer, like, she doesn't do this, you know, whatever. So she had my back, which is nice. And then apologize and thank the manager, who I definitely know this name. Thank that manager for basically just having a conversation with me. One of my favorite managers at this club sat me down, asked me about the situation, had my, like, I want to say he had my best interest. Like, he knew me pretty well because he was the main host in one of, like, the private rooms that I used to always go in. That was, like, my main private room. And he knows how I am. Like, he knows I'm a super, like, personable person. We have a good relationship. He was, like, the one manager that I actually, like, had conversations with in the club. And he was always super cool. So I knew that he knew that wasn't like me. And he was just he was the one that almost let me still work that night. He was like, I'm tempted to let you continue working tonight, but I think you should really just take the rest of the night and go home. And a large part of me didn't want to go home because I had only made, like, that $100 that night. And my house fee was probably, like, $100. So I basically left with zero. And I didn't know if I'd have my job the next day either. So I'm over here like, fuck, you know? But I said that I would apologize and thank him. I'd apologize to the house mom, putting her in that situation, having to deal with that shit. Apologize. I even said I would fucking apologize to the girl. I said that I was going to go up to her and apologize for the way that I acted, which is like, that's so like me though, because if I feel like I'm the one, I would never apologize to her if I don't feel like I started it. But I do. A part of me feels like I antagonized her. I pressed the issue. It didn't have to get that far. I think I was the reason why it did, because I pushed that door on her fucking big ass forehead and it turned into that whole thing. But I did say I'd apologize. I never did. They told me not to, because I think I had told someone like, oh, I'm gonna, go apologize. Like, don't talk to her. I'm like, okay, I won't. And I basically said that if I get fired, I'm just gonna find a new club. If someone asks me what happens, I'm gonna say I got out of character and I'd rather not talk about it. No comment. No comment. Because one thing I don't like is I hate gossiping about shit, because then I have to try to remember like what I gossiped about, and if it gets back to me, then I'm gonna have to like deal with that. And I just rather say no fucking comment. So if someone wants to go and be like, oh, what did she say about me? They're gonna be like, she didn't say shit. Because I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't want to talk about it. It does nothing for me. All these people just want to know the drama. Like, fuck that. Go ask her. How about you go ask her? Okay, cool. And then basically if I see her on the floor or hear she's talking shit about me, I'll continue to make my money and work how I normally would. I'll act as if she's not even there. If she talks shit again, it says more about her than me. So unless it's getting to the point where I need to mention it to a higher up, I'll continue about my business. So if it gets to a point where it's like she will not shut the fuck up, she keeps talking shit, she keeps talking about like doing something, then it's like I'm not about to go and press her, because I'm not trying to get fired, but at the same time, like, I'm not trying to have this issue continue in the club, Anyway, wow. What a fucking night, bro. That's so crazy. And obviously that whole thing had happened. And then that was my reflection of the night in general. And I wrote that more so for myself because I'm like, I need to know what I'm going to do better. I need to know what steps I'm going to take, because if I don't go in with an action plan, I'm just going to be like taking whatever I get. I need to know what my game plan is. So it's like, I know what happened. I know why it happened. I know what I need to do better. And if I get fired, this is what I need to do. And if I don't get fired, this is how I need to make sure I don't do it again. And that helped me a lot because I just knew, like, okay, I have a game plan. I'm clear. When you have clarity, everything else falls into place. Everything else is easy. Everything else is seamless. And if I would have just walked in there like, well, whatever happens, happens, that would have been clear. My energy and like the way that I would go about the situation would have been clear. And I don't know if management would have taken me as serious as they probably did when I did come back and apologize and actually spoke to them. Because I do remember the owner's son, he had even came up to me and he was like, hey, you know, we're going to let you back, but like, are you going to make sure that you're not going to do that shit again? And I had to give him my word, like, it's not going to happen again. And it never did in that club. Well, in any of the other clubs. But it never did. So, you know, kept my promise there. Okay. So to wrap it up, what do you do if you do get in an altercation in the club? Like, if I have not already made it fucking clear from all my reflections and you don't like anything that I said, then listen to this. Doesn't matter if it's another dancer, coworker, or even a customer. What do you do? Although things like that should never happen, sometimes we do, sometimes they do, and we all know that. So when it does, you got to roll with the punches, literally. There was one time in my stripper career where I had it happen, and I promised myself I'd never allow it to happen again. If you know me, that's out of character and the last thing I would ever want for anyone. But a mixture of alcohol, strippers, and shitty situations can really escalate things. So here's a few things I did after it happened, and hopefully it'll help you too. Number one, I reflected. I took time that night to figure out what happened, why it happened. I reflected on it and how it made me feel and look. By the end of the reflection, I realized what needed to be done next and how I'll go about it. As much as we may want to get moments like that out of our minds and move on right away, it's not that simple. Not right at first, at least. Just causes more stress and headache. So, because it's easy to dwell on things and overthink, throw a pity party, drama-filled party, that doesn't help. So instead, try typing it out and reflecting upon it. You can even, try talking to someone if that's your thing. If you like to vent to people or you want to talk to somebody about it, then definitely, do what's best for you. But another thing that you could do is write out what you're going to do different, or at least state and figure out what you are going to do differently. Even if you 100% swear on a stack of Bibles that it's not your fault, it clearly happened for a reason, and unfortunately, you're an equation in that reason. So what could you have done different? What can help you change, or what can you do now to prevent it from ever happening again? Doing something like that will help you to also get to the very root of the problem and see if there's any underlying issues that could have been prevented even earlier in the night. You literally have to reinvent yourself, because when something like that happens, everyone and their mama is looking at you sideways. So, and that kind of creates like a reputation for you, right? Like, obviously reputations are built over time. There's one-off situations all the time, and we've all seen it. We all understand. I feel like most people can kind of like get that we all have our moments. But if you make it a habit, or if you don't control it, or if you continue to let it build up or become an issue, it's going to be a reputation of yours, and people are going to look at you a certain way. So give yourself actions to take. Ooh, is this a good one? You see, it's one thing to reflect, think, and plan, but it's a completely different thing to act upon it. What's an action you can take that I think is most important of them all? Apologize to everyone involved. And that's dead ass though, because it's like, when you take accountability and you fucked up, just going and apologizing is the best thing you can do. You don't have to make promises like, oh, I promise that's not going to happen again. But if you like genuinely feel bad and you know that you fucked up, I think apologizing is great. Or at least taking accountability for your actions, like going to them like, hey, listen, I know I fucked up. That's not who I want to be. I'm going to do everything I can to be better. And I just want to say I'm sorry for putting you in that situation. Like, it literally saying something as simple as that, as long as you mean it, or at least you have the intention of meaning it, that's what matters. Like, people just want to know that you're taking accountability, that you at least give some type of fuck, right? So And I said, apologize to the club and mean it. Apologize to the girls in the bathroom who saw everything go down. If you ever see them at work, apologize that they saw it, regardless of whose side they chose or if they were speaking on you. In times like these, you got to put your pride aside and show people that you're better because of it. Everyone has nights where they fuck up. At the end of the day, you need to put your big girl heels on and show them you're a bigger person. Seriously. Apologize to the house mom if she was there and mean it. Even apologize to the person you fought if they worked there and mean it. And you're probably thinking, hell no. And I said, I was like, look, I contemplated this for a second, then I realized how many bad things could happen if I didn't say something. She could try to find out who I was and where I live. Strippers are cray, remember that. I don't know who she knows. She could get someone to come to the club and meet me outside after my shift. She could be close with the managers and try to make my life a living hell. And just to be clear, I know that could still happen even with an apology. But doing something like that, saying, I'm sorry, says so much about your character. You're literally willing to surrender your ego, put your pride aside, and cut out any bad blood. That says a lot. No matter what happens, at least you can walk away with a smile, grace, and confidence that you did something to try and make it right. So go make it right. And of course, secure the bag. So that is definitely one of my favorite reflections, I have to say. And not only will, like I mentioned in the reflection, like it'll say a lot about your character. It'll show them that you're a bigger person, but it'll help you with growth. But it will really, it really makes you feel better. Like it kind of clears your conscience in a selfish way, in a selfishly unselfish way. It helps you, right? Because it's like, you don't want to wonder like, okay, well, what if I did apologize? Like, things could have been better. Things may have been different, like moving forward. Who knows? And like I said, I don't think I ever went up to her, because I was told not to, and it probably was best that I didn't. But by my actions in the club and how, I didn't give her dirty looks anymore. I wasn't talking no shit. Like, I just went back in with like a new mindset and a new action plan, basically. Like you don't have to wait to change. You can change immediately. You can start taking actions to do better and be better and create a better environment for yourself. And that says a lot about growth and character. And it makes you feel better, honestly. Like, it takes so much fucking energy to be angry and upset and hate on other people and talk shit. It just takes so much energy that you could be putting towards making more money, making better connections, making better friends, showing people that you're not that person. Like, it says a lot about you. So I hope this was helpful. This is probably one of my favorite podcasts just because I'm sure that we've all run into issues in the strip club with girls that are fucking with our money. They got attitudes. They say shit under their breath. Whatever, you know what I mean? So hopefully this helps. Try your best not to get in a physical altercation for me, please. And as always, secure the bag. See you on the next one.